Good evening and welcome, Mahopac community. This is our Mahopac Board of Education regular school board meeting for Thursday, January 21st, 2021. Welcome. What I'd like to do right now is ask for a motion to open this meeting.
So moved.
Thank you, Adam. Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. Who I didn't see anyone. Who was
Rusty
that?
McCracken right here.
There you are. Good to see you.
How you doing? Good to see you.
Everything good. Good to see you. All in favor of opening the meeting?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Would you please join me in standing for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you again, and welcome to our Mahopac community. You hear me thunder away at this every month now, but please continue to look at the county dashboard, and of course our Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Anthony DiCarlo's weekly spotlights. They are quote unquote spot on, and we'll continue to give you the most recent and latest and greatest updates as we continue to navigate through such a very difficult time. On behalf of the Board of Education, we appreciate everybody what you're doing to stay safe and keep our community safe. And with that, what I'd like to do is turn it over right now to our Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Anthony DiCarlo. Anthony, take it away.
Thank you, President Mongan. And before we get into the advocacy and the athletic program and advocacy in general, I just as we start the new calendar year, although the second part of our school year, Mahopac has unquestionably faced a litany of unprecedented challenges this school year. All administrators and staff members should be highly commended for all their efforts to provide students a safe and productive learning environment in the midst of these most challenging times. With the calendar changing and the midpoint of our school year fast approaching, now is an ideal opportunity to reassess the new educational landscape moving forward. Much of the fear and anxiety that was understandably prevalent last August has led to a deeper sense of the Mahopac resilience. The many stressors and uncertainties associated with the return of school plans this past fall required everyone involved to emotionally toughen up and make the best of an extremely daunting situation. Staff and students physically at school, as well as students learning from home, have all had courageously charted totally unknown terrain. That includes the Board of Education. Resilience can never be meaningfully taught in isolated lessons, and its key strategies continue to be embedded throughout the entire teaching and learning experience. Most powerfully, teachers, parents, and administrators have collectively conveyed a strong sense of resilience, which has provided wonderful role modeling for students of all ages. This resilience, both required and developed by all parties during these unprecedented times, will give them the confidence and intestinal fortitude to successfully confront major life challenges and surprises in the ensuing years. As a part of that, I want to thank the Mahopac community because, as you know, I go back to last March and talking about advocacy, whether it is in my spotlights or whether it is in my Friday updates. The importance of advocating for our children, both on a state and federal level, and that's more important now than ever. And you're going to see an example tonight of advocacy with regards to athletics, specifically Coach DiMatteo and the work that he's done. But I want to make this clear. Advocacy takes form not only in athletics, it takes form with extracurricular activities, whether it's starting back on January 4th, opening up time for our ensembles, our orchestra, our band, our jazz band, our theater group, our clubs that have begun to get back together, socially distanced, and beginning to meet one another after school hours. And we want to continue to do that work. But it really is important as we look at the vaccines coming on and we look at the state budget, we have to understand that we need to continue to be patient and vigilant. The vaccines are going to take a while to roll out. It's not automatic and going to be done in a month. And I want to be clear, because it's important for us to understand that we're working hard. And of course, we want more and more kids to be in person on a daily basis. We'll get there, but we need to be patient. And as we're advocating, it's budget time, and we want to make sure that our voices are heard and that our students get what they need to be as successful as possible. And you'll hear me talking about some of those things during my report that's coming up. So again, resilience, advocacy is what makes Mahopac such a special place. Ladies and gentlemen, it is working. We need to continue to do that advocacy, because we're going to need the wherewithal for our kids to get back to where they need to be. And I'll talk a little bit about social, emotional, and connectedness when I do my superintendent's report. So I thank you, President Mongan, and to the community. Thank you for all that you're doing. I'd like to now turn it over to our athletic director, Mr. Stephen Luciano, who will start to walk us through the presentation, and then I'll hand it over to our Coach DiMatteo, and then we'll open it up for questions from the trustees. So thank you, President Mongan. Mr. Luciano?
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me join you guys once again. I always look forward to these meetings. Mr. DiCarlo started this off very well. It's important that we do advocate for all our students. My personal job is obviously for athletics, but to see our students get back to doing what they love, whether it's athletics or theater or band or any type of other extracurricular activity, I think it's important. But today I'm going to focus on what I've been doing with our athletics, and after my brief presentation, I am going to turn it over to Coach DiMatteo, who can go in depth to the great lengths that he's done to advocate for the football throughout the state. So, Melody, can you pull up the presentation, please?
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Right.
So, Coach D and I started working on this a couple of weeks ago. And, the hashtag Let Them Play is taken over throughout the state. You see it on social media a lot. So, it's something that we feel very strongly about, that, at this point, we feel all our athletes are ready to play and we want them to play. And I think if we do things correctly, given the opportunity, we would do it right. Can we go to the next slide?
I don't think so.
There you go. Thank you.
So right now our situation is we started winter sports the week of January 4th, and we were allowed to have our bowling team, our winter track team, our skiing team, and our gymnastics team were allowed to start because they're considered low, moderate risk. And we've gotten off to a great start so far. Bowling and track and gymnastics all had their first competitions this week. And skiing will have their first competition next week. For the high-risk sports that are listed, especially winter sports right now, basketball, boys and girls, wrestling, hockey, and competitive cheer, we're still waiting for the authorization of the governor before we can begin these sports. We have slowly started opening up our gym to off-season workouts, which are permitted. We've had really good turnout for those. Our coaches have been very diligent following all the safety protocols that are in place. Walking in the gym on Tuesday for the first time, that was our first workout, and seeing our boys and girls basketball players, can't see the smile on their face with the masks on, but you could tell how excited they were to be there and how much it meant to them to get back into the gym with their coaches and with their teammates. And I think that's the main focus of what we're trying to do, the social, emotional well-being of our athletes and all of our students. And you could tell them being away how much it's affected them, and having the opportunity to be with their coaches and their teammates the other day, what it's meant to them and how important it was for them to be back out there. So these sports right now, we're still waiting authorization on. Volleyball and football are supposed to start March 1st, and boys lacrosse is scheduled to start April 19th. And none of that can happen until we get authorization from Governor Cuomo to begin those sports.
So, and this is really important, if you don't mind, Stephen, to the public. So I was on a meeting on Tuesday because I sit on athletic council for Section 1, and we had Robert Zayas, who's, the person in charge of the New York State, sports and athletics. And it's very upsetting, those of you that are out there. Every week he's asking to get some kind of a status on what's happening or what can happen from the governor and the Department of Health, and they are not responding back. And he continues to say to them, I'm getting bombarded every day by parents, by student athletes, and it's very hard for me to justify when literally we're only one of 3 states left in the country that is not offering boys and girls basketball, or not offering some of the other sports that are being offered. And it's very difficult when you don't get any response. So we're coming to a point, and I'm happy to say that Senator Andrea Stewart Cousins down in Lower Westchester has put a bill with other senators on the docket to send to the governor to say, please allow these high-risk sports to take place. So I want to say, again, our resilience, and I think the resilience of parents around the state, is being heard. There is a bill that's being crafted, and hopefully that will get the attention of the governor and some decision can be made. Because as we wait and wait and wait, that opportunity of getting these sports in that are, winter high-risk sports is more and more problematic. So I just want to encourage everybody, keep doing what you're doing. It is working. We've gotten the ears of the senators and the assembly, and we just continue to hope and press. So I wanted to give you that latest update because that just literally happened a couple of days ago. So thank you, Mr. Luciano.
Thank you. Can we go to the next slide? And this is what Mr. DeCarlo was just talking about. This is a map. I put this as an example of what we're dealing with. This is a map of all the states of our country that is allowing basketball at this point. If you can tell, New York and Illinois don't have any date set, or we're still in an unknown, and Hawaii has canceled all their winter sports. Every other state is either playing or has a date that they can start playing, which is really hard for, when I have conversations with our athletes and they're saying, well, I can go 10 minutes into or 15 minutes into Danbury and play in a basketball tournament, but we can't play with our teammates, our classmates. It's tough to have that conversation with them, and they're right. It's New Jersey, Connecticut, everywhere in the Northeast is up and running and playing right now, except for New York. And our athletes, they know that, they see it, and that's what's frustrating to them is they have friends in Connecticut and New Jersey that are all playing, and we're stuck here, waiting for Governor Cuomo's authorization. And my personal opinion on this is, if we go to the next slide, we had an unbelievably successful fall season throughout the section. We didn't lose really any games to COVID. We had no athletes come down with COVID from playing a sport. We did have athletes that had to quarantine because they were in a class with somebody else that had it, but nothing directly related to sports, due to COVID. And I give all our athletes the credit in the world to make sure that we had a successful season. Our trainer, Brenna Late, really put some strong protocols in place for us to follow. The athletes did everything they were supposed to, whether the COVID screening before coming in, wearing masks at all times. We made sure that our athletes did what they needed to do to have a season, and they did what they needed to do to have a season. And I feel if we kept those protocols in place and we're given an opportunity to have a winter season, we could be just as successful with our winter sports as we were in the fall. And I wouldn't say that if I didn't mean it. I think, we should be playing basketball. We should be playing hockey. We should be doing those high-risk sports right now in a safe manner. And with the protocols that we would have in place, and the athletes knowing that following those protocols would be the only way to have a season, they would be on board in a heartbeat. We're gonna have some of our student athletes going to Connecticut to play hockey or basketball or another sport. We're gonna have them going to tournaments for New Jersey, and we don't know what protocols will be in place. And that's my biggest gripe with this whole thing and not being allowed to do it, is we're gonna have students going elsewhere to play where if we had them here with their teams in Mahopac in our gyms, we could do it in a safe manner. And, I think that's the message we've also tried to get across to the governor, through the advocacy that we've done as ADs, through our section and through the state. It's just a matter of hearing back and having them listening to us that it can be done right, and it can be done safely. And our kids deserve the opportunity to play. There's no reason. I feel awful for what our student athletes are going through. I feel awful for all our students that are missing out on stuff they love to do. And Mr. DeCarlo said it earlier, they're resilient. It's amazing how they've been and handled this so well. And they deserve to be back out there, and that's what we're fighting for right now. Can we go to the next? So I'm going to turn this over to Coach DiMatteo, who's done an amazing job advocating for football, not just for Mahopac, but throughout the state. And he's going to go over, what he started and what he's done through Section 1 and through other sections in the state for advocating for football.
Thank you, Mr. Luciana. First of all, I'd like to thank Superintendent DeCarlo, President Mongan, and the members of the Board of Education for inviting me to speak this evening. I'm very mindful of everybody's time, so I'll get right to the point. Melody, if you could go to the next slide, please. Basically, the purpose of the meeting, or really the presentation, is this: to introduce what I call our journey to advocacy, what the general plan was, the concept of an elevator speech, the actual plan, the letters, emails, and phone calls that we've engaged in, and then an update on the collaboration that has taken place across New York State with our football community, and the support, the collective support now that we've received from various New York State representatives and some other projects as well. Next slide, please. So basically, I like to refer to my story. In late October, I thought we were having success with hybrid learning, specifically in our district. We were in school more than we were out, especially at the high school, and I was proud of that. Fall sports season 1 was having its share of success, culminating with regional playoffs. And when high-risk sports were given the opportunity to engage in off-season workouts, our football program successfully engaged in 19 off-season workouts from late October up till today. We've had 12 fitness-related workouts, of which 7 were outside for speed and agility. We had 5 in the fitness center for strength. We've had 7 sports-specific workouts outside that were essentially football practice with restrictions. And in all of those scenarios, we've had 0 incidents of contact tracing and 0 cases of COVID transmission. And what I perceive to be good news, all of that good news, I wasn't hearing anything positive about winter sports in any of my conversations with anyone in late October and November. That, coupled with the fact that no one was speaking at all about fall season 2 in March. That's when I became very concerned. That's when I knew it was time to do something about it. And that's what led me to effective advocacy. And one thing I know is that social media has value. But what I learned from Mr. McCracken is that it's essentially an echo chamber. We have our little world on Twitter with football coaches and players and parents, and we all listen to each other. But that's it. We can tag Governor Cuomo with any comment about what we're upset. He's not going to see it. Nothing's going to be done. So I knew we needed a legitimate voice and a platform to be heard. And thankfully, I was with a good friend of mine, Mike Harney, a lifelong resident of Mahopac, a Mahopac graduate. And we was enjoying a beautiful night on the lake this summer. And it was he who got in my ear and said, you have to connect with Tanner McCracken. He is someone that can give you a plan to help our kids get back on the field. So it was a lifelong resident in Mike Harney who reached out to the Mahopac football coach to connect with a board member who was also a Mahopac student. I thought that story was outstanding. Next slide, please. So basically, there's the general plan. That's it. Printed letters, emails, phone calls, and the proper and appropriate use of social media. Now, typically, when you explain that, it's not very exciting. People start to stop paying attention. This works, but it only works if you do it properly, if you do it appropriately, and you do it consistently. Next slide, please. So the ultimate goal of an elevator speech is to raise awareness, and there's 4 components, and I think it's important to understand this. Otherwise, the emails, otherwise the phone calls, otherwise the letters have no value. So it's simple. Know the audience. We knew the audience was not athletic directors. Athletic directors are compassionate educators who care about student athletes. But unfortunately, they're not making the decision on this, as Mr. Luciana explained earlier. It's not sectional leadership. It's not New York State Public High School Athletic Association. It is not Dr. Zayas, as Mr. DiCarlo indicated earlier. And we know it's essentially not Governor Cuomo from the perspective of we can't get to him. We can't communicate with him. So it was Tanner who put me in the direction and said, it's the state representatives, New York State Assembly members and senators, and at times county executives. And to be quite honest, it was even Mr. DiCarlo who put me in that direction as well. These two gentlemen understood how it worked, and they got us going in the right direction. And I have to tell you, Tanner put together about an 80-page document. I gave him every school district in Westchester, Putnam, Dutchess, and Rockland County. He then married up every single assembly member and senator with all the contact information. And that is the document we pushed out to everybody across the state. Next slide, please. So here's the message. We have a major concern for New York State interscholastic athletics, specifically football. And I want to be clear, our advocacy campaign has been focused on football because I'm the football coach. That's my area of expertise. As an educator, am I a multi-sport enthusiast? Of course. Everybody knows that. But we wanted to make sure we stayed in our lane. If we could pull some people with us along the way, that would be great. But we wanted everybody to have the opportunity to make their own decisions with that. The story and key data is straightforward. We believe football is safe, and we have data from across the country to back it up. I believe the Wisconsin-Madison University study was the most compelling because it was a data-driven, scholarly-based study done by a university. And they looked at 30,000 athletes, 16 practices, and over 4,000 games. And basically what they came up with was that interscholastic sports, both practice and games, do not facilitate the transmission of COVID-19. Now, in the other slides, you'll see what we pulled up from the state. I think we have two graphics coming up next. There it is. So this is something the Section 1 Football Coaches Association put together. There's more data coming out literally by the minute. But you can see we had a quote from the NFL Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Alan Sills. We have seen zero evidence of transmission player to player on the field, either during games or practices, which I think is an important and powerful statement. Data shows zero evidence of on-field COVID transmission. Well, what pertains to us more? High school football in other states. Kentucky had close to 13,000 participants with zero cases traced back to football workouts. Colorado was close to 1,200 players, over 150 coaches, over 1,800 hours together with less than 1% infection rate. Nebraska had over 150 teams in a postseason, less than 1% didn't play. And as this data kept coming in, we kept wondering, well, what's going on with our neighbors? Because we've allegedly been in lockstep with them with every other decision related to COVID thus far. Well, there it is. You can see it as it relates to New Jersey and Pennsylvania. So these were the things we're looking at. I think the map is compelling, similar to the one Mr. Luciano presented for basketball. You have 33 states who played successfully in the fall. Okay. You have 12 states confirmed for the spring and only 5 with no update. And I've heard people say, well, maybe we should have played in the fall. The infection rate was lower then. Well, I get that. Well, know this. Check all the infection rates during the fall of these other states. They weren't all 1%. They were closer to what we are now. And that's something that got lost in the dialogue. So I thought this graphic was very compelling. Next slide, please. So finally, there's the ask. What's the ask? We're asking for the opportunity to serve as educators. New York State certified and Board of Education approved coaches. We have all the training. And that speaks to the travel and rec dynamic. And I had the opportunity to speak on the Fan this weekend with Rick Wolf. And I made it very clear. We don't want to pit interscholastic athletics against travel and rec. They all have their place. However, in general, the educators are the ones coaching in interscholastic athletics. We not only have the training, we have the support of certified athletic trainers. We have the facilities that are funded by our taxpayers. Why aren't we permitted the opportunity to coach and participate in these arenas? And we can in others. That was a concern, and that's the other piece. We want to provide our student athletes with an equal opportunity to participate in athletics. What about the kids who aren't quote unquote good enough to make an elite travel team? What about the kids whose families don't have the money to afford it? That's a major equity issue. And again, that is something that was part of our ask. So basically, we took this elevator speech, we formatted it into 3 letters. I keep referencing Tanner McCracken because I want you to know how critical he was in this process. He was the one who gave me the idea of the 3 letters, one for the coaches to send, one for the student athletes to send, one for the parents to send, with all the nuts and bolts and an area for them to adjust it so that they could say their piece. Next slide, please. And basically, that was the plan right there. So I collaborated with the Section 1 football coaches. We said the head coaches were to organize their respective communities, which I did here in Mahopac. We asked every parent or guardian and every student athlete to mail 1 printed letter and send 1 email to both representatives. So Coach DiMatteo, Mrs. DiMatteo, Anthony DiMatteo, and Dominic DiMatteo all sent a letter to Assembly Member Kevin Byrne, followed up with an email. Then we sent a letter to Senator Pete McCracken, followed up with an email. Again, it's, it doesn't sound that exciting. It's a lot of work, but this is what matters. This is what matters. And then every parent or guardian was asked to make a phone call on what we call the Thunderclap Day. What we did was we did it the way football coaches do. We had an installation menu. We assigned 3 communities every day from the beginning of January through the middle of February to call their respective New York State representatives. So Assembly Member Byrne and Senator Pete Hartman are getting calls from Mahopac, Carmel, and Brewster all on different days. It's just not going to stop. And that's the consistency that's necessary. And that's how we got on their radar. And again, Tanner crafted a phone script for us so we could provide that to our student athletes and to our parents. And then ultimately we ask every family, try to get 1 more, whether it's a grandparent, an uncle, or anybody, get 1 more person to advocate on our behalf. Next slide, please. And so that's basically it. Here's what's happened thus far. We've had tremendous collaboration across the state. It literally started in my office here in my home on the phone with Tanner. It then grew to our football community. We rolled it out to Section 1, which, as you know, is Westchester, Putnam, Dutchess, and Rockland. I then reached out to some colleagues in Section 9, and I presented to their coaches association, which is Orange, Sullivan, and Ulster. And then I presented to the following areas: the New York Catholic High School Football League, the New York City Public Schools Athletic League, Section 4, the Southern Tier, and Section 11, Suffolk County. So I've been on a bit of a tour, you could say. Fortunately, we're in the world of Zoom and didn't have to drive everywhere. And although I didn't present to these areas, I did collaborate and give all our materials to Section 8 in Nassau, Section 6 in Western New York, Section 3 in Central New York, and Section 5 in the Genesee Valley. So this is how we kind of rallied the troops and we unified the state, which is a big deal because New York State's not always unified in football, especially with the public-private Catholic dynamic. We all came together because this is about kids, and it's really been fascinating to be a part of. Next slide, please. This is the part that's cool, and I'm going to turn it over to Tanner pretty soon because I know he's going to get excited about this. We've had over 30 New York State Assembly members, come publicly support our efforts to effectively advocate for the sport of football, whether it's been a post on Twitter, Facebook, a letter written to the governor, or something of that nature. As a result, many have now called on the governor's office to reinstate all of interscholastic athletics. And quite honestly, that was our indirect goal. We wanted to see them all reinstituted. We want all our kids playing all sports. But again, as football coaches, we wanted to stay in our lane. Most recently, I was able to attend a press conference with Assembly Member Colin Schmidt from District 99. He initiated the Let Them Play legislation. So he crafted a bill, got a bunch of Assembly members behind it, and is running that up the ladder. And when I wrote this, an increasing number of New York State senators have begun to support us publicly as well. As Mr. DiCarlo indicated, the President Pro Tempore of the Senate, one of the big ones, Senator Stewart Cousins, is right there and getting on board. And she is now supposed to draft legislation and get senators. That's a big sign-on letter. And I love that I know all these buzzwords. It's because I learned it from Tanner. So I got to just let you know that I feel like I could teach political science. Next slide. Home stretch here. So basically, I thought this would have value for our other sports program. The Section 1 Football Coaches Association created a public Google folder with all our pertinent materials. The letters, the install menu, the phone script, it's all there. If you go to Twitter at SOFCA14, our pinned tweet has the link to the public Google folder that any community, any sport program, anywhere in New York State can use. And we are more than willing to share and collaborate with anyone affiliated with New York State interscholastic athletics. All they have to do is ask. And that really is it in a nutshell. I hope I hit all the points in a timely manner. I would like to give Tanner the opportunity to say a few words.
Thank you, Coach. Great presentation. And yeah, listen, it's been such a pleasure working with you on this. And this is very exciting stuff. Like, it was my pleasure to give you the blueprints and working with you. But let's be honest, it was the energy that you put forward, the way you were able to rally the troops of why this is spreading so much. And you're right. I'm so excited to see how many people, how many assembly members and senators are already coming out in support of this. And Coach, I know we've talked about this, but I want to make it clear to the board and the public that even if we don't win this fight, we're still winning, because we're teaching our students such a lesson through appropriate advocacy. Because it's a lesson when you have people in power, elected officials, and right now there's something being held back from them right now. There's something that's being held back. And it's such, what a learning moment to say, you know what? They have power, but they only have as much power as I give them, right? When they ask for your votes, right? You ask for their service. It's a transaction. So this is what we're telling our students, and we're telling the younger generation, is when you want something to happen, you got to go through the appropriate vessels. And you talked about it, Coach, with Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff is, you know, when you're all in agreement and you're very passionate about something, just direct it in the right way. And that's what this plan is all about. And honestly, it's still January. We have a lot more work to do. This is already picking up so much pace, you know? And to continue on that point of what we're telling our students and telling the younger generation, which I still consider myself a part of, right? And I want to tell my peers that, you know, we've seen things, you know, not to sugarcoat it, right? What happened at the Capitol building. You know, we see political violence around our nation. That's not the way to do it. That's not how you're supposed to advocate and use your free speech. You're supposed to do it respectfully, sincerely, civilly, but you got to come with some passion. And that's what it's all about. You know, look down the ballot. A lot of us, we turn on the news and we think, you know, it's the president and that's it. Look down the ballot. Look at your Congress representatives. Look at the state reps, right? Learn who your state rep is, because they're more local than you think and they're more willing to listen, as clearly shown by their support. So I'm so grateful to be a part of this, and I'm just so happy to see how successful it is already. And I know Director Luciana talked about this, but again, this is about the love of the game, about the love of sports, but it's especially about the mental health and wellness of our kids and our students and our community at large. And so I thank you, Director. I thank you, Coach. Obviously, it's great working with you. We're probably going to talk tomorrow on the phone. And Superintendent DiCarlo, thank you, and to the entire board for this presentation. And I'll toss it back to you, Coach. This is just a great presentation. I'm excited to keep rolling. So let them play, right? Let's go.
Yeah, and it would be really apropos to end it, Melody, if you can go to the ending, because let's see some testimony from our kids, our student athletes.
Hello, my name is Michael Callahan. I'm a junior at Mahopac High School. I play football, basketball, golf, and I recently joined the track team, which I've been going to practice to over the past week. And I also have been going to football workouts. But the one thing I can't do is play basketball, even though I was able to with my AAU team over the AAU season. And not one of my teammates ever tested positive for the disease in regards to a basketball tournament. So now I just want people to look at the data and make the right decision and give the kids the right to play the sports they love. Thank you.
I would love if New York State gave us the opportunity to play our season this year. In a year filled with losing so much already, it would really mean a lot to us if we could get back out on the court. And I feel a season would be possible if we were to follow all safety precautions, and I know my team and I would be willing to do that just to give us a chance to play.
Hi, my name is Jenna Duffy. I'm a junior at Mahopac High School, and I'm on the varsity cheerleading team. I do believe that we are ready to go back to playing our sports. I think that all the teams will do this in a safe and responsible way, and I'm very confident with our athletic director, all the coaches, and all the student athletes that we will do this the right way and the safe way to get back our seasons. Thank you.
As a Mahopac High School senior and someone who's played basketball their entire life, I would love to get the chance to finish out my career and play my last season with the people I've grown up playing with and my sister. And I feel like it's unfair that other sports get to play and we don't get to have our season.
Last year, at the end of our season, not shortly after COVID-19 had started, throughout this past year, we have all found a safe way to train and get ready for this upcoming season. We will adapt to any of the safety precautions that you guys have provided for us. We want nothing more than to take the court this year with my favorite teammates and coaches. Let us play.
As a senior on the basketball team, this season has been something that I've been looking forward to for the past 3 years, and I know that me and my team would love to be given the opportunity to make this season happen. If college teams can do it, I don't think we're that far behind, and I know that me and my team would definitely be willing to follow through with every safety precaution necessary to make this happen.
As someone that loves basketball, it is very discouraging to see other sports get to play when we can't. Being part of a team is such an important aspect during the high school experience. I enjoy learning about the game from my coaches and teammates, and I take the responsibility of being part of a team very seriously.
I would love the opportunity to play this season. If we follow all the safety precautions, we can do this. We should at least try, even if it's just for a few games. The chance to get back on the court with my team would mean everything.
I know myself and the rest of the team, especially the seniors, really want to have this season. We will take any precautions necessary because we really just want to get back on the court.
I'd be so grateful if I had the opportunity to play with my team again. I know that the team really wants to have this season played, and we'll do anything, so we will take all the precautions and just be as safe as possible.
Hi, my name is John Cosentino. I'm a senior at Mahopac High School. I play varsity basketball. I'm willing to follow any procedure or rules put into effect to play again, like wearing a mask or literally anything. Trust me, I won't let you down. We won't let you down. I think it should be left up to the schools like it was for it to open or not. And yeah, we won't let you down, trust me.
Hi, my name is Ryan Carter, and I'm a senior at Mahopac High School. With New York currently being the only state that does not have a plan for hockey, I don't see why we wouldn't be allowed to play. Considering our neighbors, Connecticut and New Jersey, who we have followed closely with similar responses to COVID, have already laid out plans for safe hockey seasons, I believe New York can do the same. For many seniors, this may be their last year playing competitive hockey, and it is not fair to them to miss out on this experience. Their senior seasons are one of the most anticipated seasons of their careers, and being the only graduating class to miss out on this experience would be awful.
I'm junior forward Matthew Lukowski, and this year having a season is a lot bigger than the game itself. I've been very fortunate to play for Coach McGee and Coach Donahue the last 2 years, and we've had 2 very different seasons result-wise, but the positive attitude and environment's always been there, and I think they did a great job creating like a big family with our team, and that's very important to all of us. No matter really what's going on during the day in our lives, we step on the ice with all of our friends and we kind of let everything go and just have fun and be loose for an hour. And just a group of 20, 25 guys having fun and looking out for each other, and I really think that's more important than playing games, and that's why it's important to find a safe way to play this season, because it creates friendships and relationships that can last a long time and teaches many life lessons and forms a bond as one big family.
Thank you, Steve. Trustees, any questions? While we have Steve and Coach.
Yeah, Steve and Coach. So can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Steve? And,
yes, I hear you.
Okay, Steve, Anthony, and Tanner, thank you so much for all the effort that went into this. You know, had the good fortune of speaking to a couple of our representatives, namely our Assemblyman Kevin Byrne. We did talk about the opportunity possibly of doing of doing something, and I spoke to Superintendent DeCarlo about this possibly. You know, one of the things that resonates really well, you can have, you know, adults and, you know, and the social media aspect of, you know, of things and try to, you know, get through the governor's office. But, you know, there's always an opportunity to go up to Albany with several of our, you know, like the kids that you just saw, you know, right here in the video, speaking from their hearts, and going up to Albany and speaking over at the, you know, or at the state capitol in order to try to, you know, draw more awareness to just the, you know, to the enormity of what's going on right now, and the and the let them play. So I mean, that's one of the things I think that that's something that we should talk about, is maybe because I think it's easier listening from, you know, just the kids, you know, from their hearts that were just speaking to us on video. But you take those athletes from around the all the sections, and you bring athletes over to the state capitol, and you appeal via press conference. Sometimes it's easier listening to the kids rather than frustrated educators, angry adults, overbearing neighbors and members of the community. When the kids go up and advocate, I think it resonates along with all the other fine work that the advocacy group is doing. So I think there's a couple opportunities, and like I said, just let's keep the ball rolling, and let's get these kids back on the courts and on the football field.
Okay, Steve and Coach, thank you very, very much for the presentation. Great job. It talks about who we are in Mahopac. I'll also be talking about advocacy again in my superintendent's report for academics and learning also, because they go hand in foot. It's the student athlete piece of it. So again, thank you very much for all you do. This is what makes Mahopac such a special school district in place. And keep fighting the fight. Thanks again, gentlemen.
Thanks so much for having us.
Nice job.
Thank you guys. Have a great night.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Coach.
Terrific job, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, so what we'll do right now is we'll go. We have communications. We did not receive any comments on our agenda items for this evening. So what I'd like to do right now is I'd like to move on to our motions. We have some housekeeping that we have to do now. So what I'd like to do is, trustees, could I get a motion to accept the treasurer's report for November 2020?
So moved.
Thank you, Ray. Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Second. Roll call vote. Melody, could you call us out, please?
Sure. Mike Moggin?
Yes.
Okay. Trustee Savino?
Yes.
Trustee Fafaro?
Yes.
Trustee Mustafa? Trustee Simone?
Yes.
Trustee McDonough?
Yes.
Trustee Keene?
Yes.
And Trustee McCracken?
Aye.
And Trustee DeLillo?
Okay, thank you very much. Could I also get a motion now for the warrants for November 2020? Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
So moved.
Tanner, and I heard a second on Dave. Actually, it was simultaneous. We love virtual. Okay. Could we also get a roll call vote, please, Melody?
Trustee Moggin?
Yes.
Trustee Savino?
Yes.
Trustee Musafra? Trustee Musafra?
Waiting.
Yes. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't see. Trustee Simone?
Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Fafaro?
Yes.
Trustee McDonough?
Yes.
Trustee DeLillo?
Yes.
Trustee McCracken?
Aye.
Thank you.
And could we also get a motion for the revenue status report for November 2020?
So moved.
Thank you, Adam. Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Ben. Roll call vote.
President Moggin?
Yes.
Trustee Savino?
Yes.
Trustee Musafra? Trustee Fafaro?
Yes.
Trustee Simone?
Yes. Yes.
Trustee Keene?
Yes.
Trustee McDonough?
Yes.
Trustee DeLillo?
Yes.
And Trustee McCracken?
Aye.
Could I now get a motion to accept the budget transfers report from November 2020? Roll call vote. Oh, excuse me, a motion. Sorry.
So moved.
Thank you, Adam. Second, please.
Second.
Tanner, thank you. I heard you, Mike, also. Roll call vote, please, Melody.
President Morgan,
Yes.
Vice President Savino,
Yes.
Trustee Masafra,
Yes.
Trustee Simone,
Yes.
Trustee Fafaro,
Yes.
Trustee Keene,
Yes.
Trustee McDonough,
Yes.
Trustee DeLulo,
Yes.
and Trustee McCracken.
Aye.
Thank you. Could I also now have a motion for the acceptance of the work session minutes of December 15th, 2020?
So
Motion. Thank you, Dave. Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Mike. Roll call vote, please. Melody?
President Morgan,
Yes.
Vice President Savino,
Yes.
Trustee Masafra,
Yes.
Trustee Simone,
Yes.
Trustee Fafaro,
Yes.
Trustee Keene,
Yes.
Trustee McDonough,
Yes.
Trustee DeLulo,
Yes.
and Trustee McCracken.
Aye.
Thank you. Now, can I also can I have a motion to accept the regular Board of Education meeting minutes of December 21st, 2020? A motion, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Adam. Second, thank you, Larry. Roll call vote, please.
President Morgan,
Yes.
Vice President Savino,
Yes.
Trustee Masafra,
No, I was not in attendance.
Trustee Simone,
Yes.
Trustee Fafaro,
Yes.
Trustee McDonough,
Yes.
Trustee DeLulo,
Yes.
Trustee McCracken.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, trustees. What I'd like to do right now is turn it over to our superintendent of schools, Mr. Anthony DiCarlo, for his much-awaited superintendent report. Mr.
Thank
DiCarlo.
you. Thank you, President Mongan. So to continue on with advocacy, and we're talking about teaching and learning, and I think it's important as we look at the state budget coming up and the importance of the money moving forward for our kids. And one of the things I really think is very important is the vaccine rollout and what impact this does and may have on schooling and more in-person learning. As you are aware, as the vaccines are being rolled out, they originally said, and it's probably most likely, we're talking about 16 to 18 weeks. If you play that out to develop some type of herd immunity with all our staffs, something is going to have to give. And there's a lot of dialogue, and we're constantly, myself and Dr. Stowell and Mr. Tremblay and Mr. Bilyeu, every week on with the Putnam County Department of Health. They would love to come in and do pods in the schools. So would we. The issue is they need to have the guidance and the vaccines to be able to do that. If that is allowed for us to do, and we get there at some point in time, and we develop that herd immunity, and we get the majority of our teachers vaccinated, then we can have some of those discussions. Nothing has changed in the guidance from the state about masks and 6 feet. I know there's some, not a lot, but there continues to be, was mentioned before, about a lot of chatter on social media to open the schools and have everybody back. That's not the guidance. And the Department of Health, both the state as well as Putnam County, which we have to follow, has been clear. We're waiting for the vaccine rollout. We're not gonna start to have people come back when we also have a new strain that's out there. So, in regards to public safety, now would not be prudent with all the work we've done to say we're going to bring everybody back. We hope maybe to get there towards the end of the school year, possibly, because I think what we need to do, and this is really important, we need to have kids just come back to get them reconnected, right? Because they have lost connection. They're going to have been out since March. Okay, and what I mean by connected, some being remotely full-time, some being hybrid. We're losing kids. We've never been through this, whether as adults, as superintendents, as teachers, as parents, as students, as trustees, okay? And this has become psychologically and emotionally daunting for all of us. That support that's going to be needed, and that leads me to the budget issue. We're going to need monies. Yes, parents and students, we want to have programs over the summer. We want to do that. We want to get you into school and be reconnected, not only academically, but social, emotionally, and offer programs over the summer. We need monies to do that. So that's that advocacy piece that we want to make sure that the state hears, that the federal government hears. We've never been through this before. We need to have programs over the summer for our kids. We need to have social, emotional training for our staffs, for everybody to welcome our kids back, whether it is at the end of this school year, over the summer, and in the fall. So that advocacy piece is so important, and we need to continue to do that, because I don't want to lose sight that we're here for education and teaching and learning, and we need more than ever, and you've done a great job, Mahopac community, to continue to advocate for that we need those monies to be able to get the type of work we want to do with our kids academically and social emotionally. And I think that's such an important piece that we all need to understand as we move forward. So those same people that we talked about with sports and football and high risk, we got to do the same thing for our kids, about the budget, about having money for kids, about offering opportunities if we can offer them as soon as we can in a safe and healthy environment. And having money for summer programs is going to be so vitally important. So, I thank the community. We are working hard. We are advocating. We're constantly, looking at things and ways we can look at stuff, but the guidance is still the guidance, okay? And it's very easy to say, hey, Mr. DiCarlo, bring everybody in. We don't have the operational capacity to do that. Example, look how many sections we have in each elementary school. About 6 per grade level. You have to double the size of each grade level. We don't have the physical capacity with the current guidelines to do that. Again, down the road, if we get the vaccine, we can do the pods in school, we develop some kind of herd immunity and they lessen the guidelines, then of course we're going to do that. But to think that we can do that a week from now, a month from now, even 2 months from now, that's just being unrealistic. So we're hearing you, we're listening, and we'll continue to do what we can do for our students. And we need to understand the advocacy for money needed to reconnect kids, to do the kind of work we need to do over the summer academically and connecting kids back in. It's very, 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 very important. So I thank you very much for your continued resilience on that. Now on to some really good notes to the community. This weekend, we are going to have our middle school STEAM fair. It's going to be virtually. You're going to see information that'll be on our website. It'll be in my update tomorrow. It's going to take place this Saturday, January 23rd from 9 to 2. And the entire Mahopac community is open. There'll be a link for you to be able to go in and see the live streaming. And then at 2 p.m., there'll be a process of awards and things given out. What's really important to understand, though, and it really has to be understood, you need to have a Mahopac account. You just can't log in, so through our Mahopac, .org accounts, you can get in and see these wonderful work that our kids have done, not only in the middle school, but middle schoolers and high schoolers mentoring our elementary school kids. It's unbelievable. There'll be access. That's the STEAM Fair 2021 website. You'll have to use your mahopac.org username and password, and then you can log in and see the great work that's being done. A huge shout out to our middle school teachers, Kelly Kishak and Mary Fox, for their tireless work and the STEAM Fair and doing it virtually this year, remembering how important it is to our kids to try to keep as much continuity and semblance as we can, their resilience to be able to do this under the challenges that COVID has had to offer. I thank them and everybody and the teams at the middle school for doing the incredible work, and we look forward to seeing you on Saturday. So thank you very much, and to Mr. Kazakria, his administrative team, for their support and guidance is incredible. Also, I mean, again, the accolades that are happening, and I say this over and over again, even during COVID, for what's happening at Mahopac High School. So Mahopac High School this week found out that we have 5 students who were selected to present their science research at the upcoming Junior Science and Humanities Symposium. Congratulations to the following MHS science researchers: Ranuka Molodahar, Maxwell Semigran, Nicole Savagny, Alexa Tyberg, and Jamie Varola. Congratulations on an incredible job. The award ceremony will be streamed live, and I'll give you information on that on February 6th. So again, absolutely great stuff going on and what's happening at Mahopac High School. And as was mentioned before, we've started our low moderate sports. Winter track, which is now really outdoor track again, has started. We've had wrestling meets and bowling, and to all those students, once again, just an incredible a show of resilience. Their coaches, the parents, the smiles, and so let's just keep on doing what we do. Mahopac does it so well, and I'm happy that we're in 2021, and I'm excited about what I talked about before. And I think Tanner mentioned it about hope, about resilience, about collaboration and working together is so important now more than ever. So, President Mongan, that's my report, and back to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. DiCarlo, and thank you again for all your efforts. I know when you became superintendent nearly 3 years ago, you certainly didn't have pandemic checked off on your resume, so now you can check it off. Thank you. So crazy times. So everybody stay safe. Okay, so look, we're going to move on to our committee reports. Again, your Board of Education, does such a great job and works so well with our administrators and our administration. So what I'd like to do right now is we'll do policy. I'd like to ask Senior Trustee Lucy Musafir for the policy report. Lucy?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, sorry. My internet goes in and out, so sometimes it looks like it goes off for whatever the reason. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to 2021. The policy committee, we met on Tuesday, January 5th. It was myself, President Mongan, Trustee Adam Savino, our attorney Allison Smith, and we also had our district clerk Melody. At the time, we discussed the policies around our consent agenda. It was a brief meeting. It was regarding our school volunteers, our policy on concussions, and policy on student health services. The changes that were made were pretty much cleanup and advisement from our attorneys. As we go through policies and things change, verbiage sometimes needs to change to stay with current requirements from the state. The other meeting we had was Human Resources on Friday, January 15th. It was also myself, Trustee President Mike Mongan, Adam Savino, Ray McDonough, and Deborah Legato. And because of the confidentiality, we reviewed personnel matters, and most of them are on this evening's consent agenda. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senior Trustee Musafir. Could I go right now to transportation and then technology, Vice President Adam Savino? Adam.
Sure. Thank you, President Mongan. Let me just pull up the right one. Okay. The Transportation Committee met January 7th. Present were Senator Clohessy, Leonora Volpe, myself, Trustees McCracken, and President Mongan. We discussed the current staffing and vacancies. We discussed the work that the full-time drivers were doing while the schools were on pause and break. We then discussed process change with TransFinder, using it for more for trips and such. We discussed the responses to the transportation audit. And we discussed the snow removal process and staffing for it. We adjourned at 6:15. That is all for transportation. We'll move to technology. The technology subcommittee met January 19th at 6 o'clock. Present were Dr. Stoll, Mr. Tremblay, myself, and President Mongan. We started off by discussing planning for the 21-22 budget, refresh cycle, bandwidth needs, and capabilities. We discussed the library and media centers, which are going to be part of the bond. We discussed pros and cons of increased Chromebook access to the younger we were updated on the Windows 10 rollout for the district. The big point, as Mr. DiCarlo pointed out, we have updated tech hours, tech support hours at the fall school, Wednesdays at 6 o'clock by appointment only. We did discuss the expanded bandwidth, which we spoke about previously. We're going to start testing that to see what its capabilities are, where we're at, and what we're going to need. We got a brief update on the new Chromebooks for the 5th and 9th graders. Hopefully, still looking at February. Fingers crossed for that. We discussed a cybersecurity audit. We got a brief update on the Smart Schools bond. It's still up with the State Education Department. And we finished up with, once again, the trouble tickets that have come into the technology department. Hats off to them again with the staffing they had. Since December 7th, 814 new tickets came in, and they closed 850. We adjourned at 6:40 p.m. That is all for technology.
Just really incredible undertaking there with technology. Vice President, thank you very much for your reports. We'll slide over to finance right now. Trustee Ben DeLullo. Ben, would you like to present your finance report, please?
Sure. Thank you, President Mongan. So we had our finance meeting on the 14th of January. In attendance was Assistant Superintendent Sandra Clohessy, myself, Lucy Masafra, and President Mike Mongan. The bulk of the meeting was spent in discussing the response to the non-instructional payroll audit that occurred several months ago by the Office of State Controller. We are ready to file the actual corrective action plan, and that'll be filed in the next few days. The main thrust of the corrective plan centers around Timepiece, which is a software that will coordinate the time punching. The really cool part about this software is it connects and links with other softwares that are attendance software, as well as finance and HR softwares. So that will create a lot of different controls and points of interaction with supervisors. So things that happen that the audit caught will not occur in the future. Once that audit report is sent out, policy committee will revise the standard operating procedures accordingly. We also spent a bit of time reviewing the fact that the state, New York State, continues to hold a position of holding back 20% of our aid. As we're coming into budget season, that creates a challenge in terms of budget when you have more unknowns than knowns in some cases. But I know we'll be reporting on that in the next few months. And I know our our finance department is up to the task because they're very talented and they will figure it out. We started at 6:07 and we ended at 7:15. And that's it for finance.
Thank you very much, Trustee DeLullo. Great job with that committee. And again, thank you to our assistant superintendent for business, Sandra Clohessy, for her work, and our district treasurer, Lisa Zaretsky, for her work in preparing the information for the committee. That was very nice. Thank you. What I'd like to do right now is a little bit more housekeeping. So we had we're very excited, as always, when we have donations that come in. keep them rolling. So what I'd like to do right now is on donations. We have a donation from the Italian American Committee on Education, and I'd like to ask Senior Trustee Lucy Musafra, would you please read our donation, please?
Sure, thank you. So let it be resolved upon recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education of the Mahopac Central School District accept a grant of $1,104.35 from Italian American Committee on Education to be applied to the Mahopac High School Italian Language Program. Thank you so much.
That's great. That's wonderful. Thank you very much. And now we also have another donation from Tompkins Mahopac Bank. Vice President Savino, would you please read that donation for us, please?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. President. Be it resolved upon recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education of the Mahopac Central School District accepts a donation in the amount of $2,500 from Tompkins Mahopac Bank for $500 to each school in the Mahopac Central School District to be applied to school supplies. Thank you.
Wonderful.
President Mongan, I just want to take a second just to thank the Italian American Committee on Education and Mahopac National Bank, because this is what, we talk about with partnership and giving back to the community. To be able to give back to kids in a variety of different capacities is a tribute to these organizations and the importance that they know that schools are in the community and that they're a part of the community, and to be able to give back to the kids in programmatic changes as well as supplies for a variety of each of our buildings is just a great tribute to the community we live in. And I want to thank again the Italian American Committee as well as Mahopac Tompkins Bank for all their support. Thank you both.
Well said, Superintendent. Thank you very much for that.
And also, President Mongan, the tweet is up. The students' comments are on Twitter, on Instagram, and on the website. Again, we apologize. It seemed to be a Zoom issue. It was playing fine, and then sometimes it happens, but it is up. So I encourage everybody to take a look at those 3 platforms and get the testimonies of the kids. So thank you, President Mongan.
Absolutely. We might even be able to get those on our television channel as well, right, Carlo? That
Yes,
would be wonderful.
thank you.
Yep. Okay. So, and thank you again for the donations. So we're going to move on to our a motion to.
Just a point of order. I think we have to vote on those, right? We have to take motions and vote on those donations. Do we not?
We do.
Okay. Sorry about that. Thank you, Dave. Okay. Do you want to do them individually, or should we do them both at the same time?
Put them together, I think.
Okay, that's fine. Could I get a motion to accept the donations from the Italian American Committee on Education and also the Tompkins Mahopac Bank? Have a good motion.
I think Lucy and Adam did that respectively. I think we just have to second them, right? They read them, so we just got a second. Right? They read the motion, so I'll second them. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be a stickler, but I would second both motions. Sorry, Mike.
That's okay, Dave. So can we get a roll call vote, please?
Right, so those, they were just read for recognition.
Yes.
But, so for acceptance for the first donation from
Italian American Committee on Education.
All right, that was the first one. Okay. So President Mongan?
Oh, yes, sorry.
Okay. Vice President Savino?
Yes.
Trustee Musafra?
Yes.
Trustee Simone?
Yes.
Trustee Fafaro?
Yes.
Trustee Keene?
Yes.
Trustee McDonough?
Yes.
Trustee DeLulo?
Yes.
Trustee McCracken?
Aye.
Thank you.
Very nice. And now also a motion and a second, obviously, for the Tompkins Mahopac Bank. So Dave, so we had the reading, and now we'll get a second on that one.
So moved.
Thank you, Dave. And could I get a roll call vote, please, on the acceptance?
So who moved for that one? I'm sorry.
Well, Adam read it, and
Okay, so Adam, were you moving for that resolution to be passed?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Trustee McDonough?
Yes.
Okay, Trustee DeLillo?
Yes.
Trustee McCracken?
Aye.
Trustee Fafaro?
Yes.
Trustee Keene?
Yes.
Trustee Masafra?
Yes.
Vice President Savino?
Yes.
And President Morgan?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay. So we'll move on to the motion to approve the consent agenda. Lucy, do you wanted to Trustee Masafra, you wanted to remove letter N?
Yes, letter N, please.
Okay, that's the
Calendar.
the calendar. We really didn't have at the work session. We didn't spend any time on the calendar. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to table the calendar. Superintendent DeCarlo, can we do the calendar at the next work session? Is that
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
No
Okay.
problem.
Would that be okay? So could I get so we're going to remove it out of that. So can I get a motion to table for future discussion of letter N, the district calendar?
So moved.
Thank you, Ray. And I know it was 2 seconds simultaneous. Who was the other one, please? I couldn't see it.
I'll second it, Dave.
Thank you, Dave. And a roll call vote on that one, please.
President Morgan?
Yes.
Vice President Savino?
Yes.
Trustee Masafra?
Yes.
Trustee Simone?
Yes.
Trustee Fafaro?
Yes.
Trustee Keene?
Yes.
Trustee McDonough?
Yes.
Trustee McCracken?
Aye.
Trustee DeLillo?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much. And now can I have a motion to accept this evening's aggressive consent agenda?
So moved.
Tanner McCracken. Thank you, trustee.
Thank
Can
you.
I get
Second.
that was pretty quick. Who said that? That was really quick.
Larry.
That was Trustee Keene.
Adam, was that you? Quick, sec. Adam, and again, a roll call vote, please, Melody, on the consent agenda.
President Morgan?
Yes.
Vice President Savino?
Yes.
Trustee Masafra?
Yes.
Trustee Simone?
Yes.
Trustee Fafaro?
Yes.
Trustee Keene?
Yes.
Trustee McDonough?
Yes.
Trustee DeLillo?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And Trustee McCracken?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So what we're going to do right now is we have a little housekeeping that we have to do.
President's comments?
Yes. We have resident comments. We didn't have any resident comments come in for this month. But again, we certainly do encourage, we encourage resident comments and just would ask everybody to, keep looking at the website, keep looking at the dashboard, and keep and stay current with the superintendent's weekly spotlights to keep up with all the greatest information of our. Okay. So we didn't have any resident comments. So what I'd like to do right now, we have the Board of Education, a couple of dotting the I's across the T's in executive session. So what I'd like to do right now is I'd like to get a motion to move into executive session. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Adam. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ray. And
Just
a roll
to ask-
call.
Sorry, President Mott, you said personnel matters? I didn't hear you.
HR person. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Sorry, didn't hear that. My apologies.
No, sorry, probably froze. Yeah. So, and a roll call vote, please, Melody.
President Morgan,
Yes.
Vice President Savino,
Yes.
Trustee Masafra, Trustee Simone,
Yes.
Trustee Fafaro,
Yes.
Trustee Keene,
Yes.
Trustee McDonough,
Yes.
Trustee DeLulo,
Yes.
and Trustee McCracken.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Due to the technical limitations, it will not be possible to end the meeting with a virtual public session. Please be advised that the Board of Education will take no action after the executive session other than to ask for a motion, a second move from executive session, and adjourn the meeting, and to ask the members to vote on those motions. A record of the time the motions are made and the result of the votes taken will be made by our District Clerk, Melody LaRocca, and included in the minutes of the meeting. So with that, I would like to thank our Mahopac community for joining this evening. It was a terrific meeting this evening. A lot of information, and appreciate everybody that presented today. And let's just hope and pray that we can continue to get through this safely and get our athletes and our students back in schools and back on the fields and on the courts. So with that, community, we bid you a good night and good well, and please continue to stay safe. Thank you.
All right.